Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Julie Leverett, and I'm the Director of Marketing and Admissions here at St. Camillus. Welcome to our second seminar. We are offering a series of seminars on a variety of topics over the next couple months. So check out our website. There will be a seminar listing. It'll be every other Thursday. So the next one is August 6th at 1:30. The topic for that webinar will be living safely in a lifeline community or a senior community during the COVID pandemic. You will hear the precautions we have taken, the precautions our residents have taken. You'll also hear from a resident who's moved in during the pandemic into independent living. We recently surveyed all of our independent living residents, and 97% responded that they feel safe and are satisfied with the precautions we've taken. So it should be a good topic. Shannon Angel, our Chief Operating Officer, and I will be here along with the resident. Right now, San Camillo is our independent living, and hopefully everyone has heard of the East Residence. The East Residence is our expansion project. So San Camillo currently has 277 apartments with a variety of apartment styles. And we do have a good assortment of apartments available. We did start touring a little bit ago. We are offering virtual consultations. But what we found is people are very anxious to move into San Camillo now. The time that we were in a quarantine, residents and prospects and everyone missed socializing, dining, going to mass, things like that. So we've been really quite busy, which we are happy about. So please consider visiting with us either virtually or in person. These residents, it will be 168 independent living apartments on 50 floors. We are in the process of pre-selling those apartments now. Our depositors are super excited. If you drive down Bluemount, take a look at the site. It's going vertical now. We plan on opening April of 2022. So when Justin and Kevin talk a bit, and we'll focus more on independent living financial implications rather than the whole continuum, but you'll see how it all fits together. But when you hear of talking about entrance fees, we'll be talking about that will be applying to independent living, whether it's our existing San Camillo or our new East residents. Some of you submitted questions in advance. That's great. If a question comes up, we do have the chat feature on. You can just type in your question and we will make sure it gets answered. So we will go ahead and start. I will introduce Kevin Schwab, who's our Chief Executive Officer, and then Justin Munzel, our Chief Financial Officer.
All right, well, welcome everybody. As Julie mentioned, my name is Kevin Schwab. I have the honor and privilege of serving as the CEO for St. Camillus. I've been here soon to be 20 years in August so next month I'll be here 20 years. So very exciting times at St. Camillus. And it's great to be here and great to be here talking to you about this exciting project. Justin, you want to introduce yourself before I move in?
Yeah. My name is Justin Munzel. I'm the Chief Financial Officer, and I'm just a little bit behind Kevin. I've been here for, I think, going on 16 years at the campus. So again, very excited to see all the change that's happened over the last few years.
All right, well, thank you. Thanks again for everyone for coming. I'm going to switch over and share my screen for those that can see the screen here as we go through this, just because I want to make sure that we don't miss anything. But I'm going to quickly go over a couple of things. I'm going to talk about what a life plan community is, why someone would maybe choose a life plan community, and if you're going to choose a life plan community, why would you choose St. Camillus? Talk about our mission, our vision, some of our values, and then answer any questions at that point for that portion. Justin will then speak about our entrance fees for the East residents and monthly service fees. And then we'll talk about some financial security at St. Camillus and end with a conclusion. So that'll be what takes us through here. But what is a life plan community? So a life plan community previously was called the CCRC. They changed this back maybe between 5 and 10 years ago to a life plan community. It's a residential community for active independent adults, usually age 60 plus. and it provides a variety of living options, particularly in independent living, assisted living, skilled nursing, and memory care. It also offers a lot of other services and amenities in the continuum of care designed to meet residents' changing needs as they age in place, per se. But at St. Camillus, we go one or a few steps further than that by offering both home care, home health, and hospice services. So with that, we consider ourselves the most comprehensive life plan community in southeastern Wisconsin because of all the services that we offer here on our campus. Why would you look into a life plan community? Well, you know, we all seek to live a longer and healthier life, especially during our golden years and later on. The facts, according to the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, all the research does show and demonstrate that people who live in life plan communities are healthier and live a much longer life. But at St. Camillus, we simply call it thriving. That's what our residents will call it. Residents can thrive, socialize with peers, and remain active and engaged throughout their time with us in our independent living. We have a warm and friendly environment, and it creates a positive outlook and also a zest for life. And with a focus on our wellness and our multiple dimensions of wellness and healthy meals, strong community purpose, and each resident seems to be able to find their highest potential, you know, in things that they can do here at St. Camillus. And with a plan in place for the unknown down the line, residents are covered in the what ifs of the life and feel secure knowing that their future healthcare needs will be met at a place that they're familiar with. And at St. Camillus, you know, where you choose to live does matter. By staying in control of your future and having a plan in place allows you to make the important decisions about where you live and who will care for you as your health needs as you age. You know, at St. Camillus, you'll remain in the driver's seat, and that's important. By choosing to live in a life plan community such as ours, your future life plans are in your hands rather than the hands of others. And family members are secure in knowing that their loved ones are being cared for in a safe and loving community. And, you know, when they visit in the future, it'll be quality time rather than thinking what they have to do with mom or dad and their health. There's also a newfound feeling of peace of mind at St. Camillus and that life plan community. Residents have security knowing that they can remain in their community that they're familiar with, in a place that they know, and that they know that they have other care alternatives on the same campus. And then friends and family and couples can remain close. When the East residence is completed, it will be one continuous building, and so that closeness and visiting can happen 12 months out of the year. And even if one person requires a higher level of care, it means all the difference in the world as well. And then, you know, also why St. Camillus, you know, we're going to talk about a little of this down the line here, but the financial viability of the community that you choose is also important, because in order to ensure that it'll be able to provide residents and you the quality of care and services that you expect and paid for into the future. So it'll be around you. It's important to know that it'll be around for a long time. And you want to ensure that the life plan community you are considering is well managed and good financial standing. And we'll touch upon that on the latter half of our presentation here. And residents at St. Camillus, they do their research, as you probably have done too, and found that the reputation and stability of our community here at St. Camillus are the foundation that has led them to choose us. And, you know, it's evident by our history here, by serving in Wauwatosa and the community for nearly 90 years. We started in 1932. It's 2020 today. And so our mission, we are sponsored by the Roman Catholic Order of St. Camillus since the 1930s. And our mission is by providing services to the poor, the sick, and the elderly with a sense of compassion and love. St. Camillus offers hope and meaning to those who are suffering, comfort and security to those who are aging, and serenity to those who are dying, taking into account each person's innate dignity unique needs and God-given rights. In our vision statement for the future is St. Camillus will become a nationally recognized life plan community by achieving the highest levels of healthcare quality, sharing knowledge and best practices, and delivering exceptional experiences to help individuals such as yourselves achieve your life goals. And we chose, on top of our vision statement, a small vision statement tagline per se, which is tradition, compassion, innovation. And obviously tradition is, both in the tradition of our founder of St. Camillus, as well as the long-standing we have it in Wauwatosa in southeastern Wisconsin, along with our compassion that is evident by the care that is given by everyone that works at St. Camillus, and innovation in terms of how we carry out our practices and our care, as well as our East residents. And at St. Camillus, we do value diversity. Equality is an essential part of our mission here at St. Camillus. We believe in a culture where difference creates tradition, innovation, and compassion. And we strive to create an inclusive workplace and culture that celebrates the immense diversity among all of our employees and all of our residents. And we believe our difference makes us most alike. Once again, and how this is all tied together for our mission, as I said earlier, St. Camillus, we consider ourselves the most comprehensive life plan community in southeastern Wisconsin, if not potentially the state. And we are committed to our residents and are the only life plan community in Wisconsin to state in our residency agreements that once a resident is always a resident. Our foundation, which is connected to our campus as part of one of our corporations, provides a benevolent care if a resident's funds were to ever run out. So we provide the security of knowing the what ifs of the future are covered for you. And by choosing us, you have the security and stability of knowing all of the worry about the future disappears. Should you or your loved one ever need additional care or services, they are available to you with our full continuum of care and home health services, as well as that promise to not discharge in the future for the inability to pay. And are we, Julie, did you say we're going to have questions as they come up or as at the end?
Yeah, so we can, if you have any questions, please type them in and we'll answer them either during the presentation or at the end of it.
Okay. Since there's none right now, maybe we'll get some later. I'm going to pass it over to Justin to talk about the monthly service fees and entrance fees.
All right. All right, so hopefully you can all see my screen here. So again, I'm just going to touch upon a couple things that came in from some of the questions that were submitted before. And then again, if anything else on top of this comes up, feel free to put in the chat. So I'm going to touch upon the monthly fees, both in our current independent living product and then in the new East residence. Some questions on the entrance fees. And then there was one question submitted on what is the difference between a life plan community, which Kevin kind of talked about, versus a life care community. So I'll let slide on that. So how are our monthly fees determined? All of our units are priced on a per square foot basis. So, we take a look at our current mix of product, the square footage of those, comparing those to the new East residence units, also comparing those to other senior living communities and benchmarking our costs compared to those. Sometimes you have to be a little bit careful on the monthly fees based upon what's all included in those fees. Some communities are a little bit more a la carte. And as you'll see in a couple slides, our monthly fees are kind of an all-inclusive fee and include quite a bit more than just your room and board. One thing to point out, which I'll talk about in a slide or two here, as we increase our units in size, the cost per square foot decreases a little bit. So when you're comparing the monthly fees on the new East residence product to even our current independent living product, you can see on a per square foot basis, because they're significantly bigger units, they're actually less on a per square foot basis. And then of course, we do have to meet certain financial covenants. So we always consider the covenants that we have to meet along with all the other expenses of our campus to ensure that we're maintaining a healthy financial picture for all the residents. So here's our current San Camillo mix. Up on top, you can kind of see here in this green section here, these are our rates as of October 1st, the beginning of our fiscal year. So you can see the square footage of each particular unit, the monthly fees, the entrance fees. And I think what I just kind of want to point out here, if you look at the average per square foot is $2.82. And on an entrance fee basis, we're just a little bit short of $300 per square foot. And I'll show you in a slide or two how that compares. Now, because all of our East resident units, the pricing that some of you have seen or may see is all projecting out as to when we finish the building in the beginning of 2022. What I wanted to do here was just kind of compare projecting with our standard increases, roughly assuming about 3%. What will these unit prices look like in 10/1/21, which again goes until September 30th of 22. What will those look like at that same time? So we can kind of compare apples to apples. So on a comparison basis, we'd be about $3.08 a square foot and about $326 a square foot for the entrance fee. So now this was the proposed pricing for the East residents. Forgive the names here. Julie goes by, Julie and the team kind of go by some different names, but for units, I just kind of went by letters. Really what's important to point out here is, again, in 2021 pricing, we're projecting the average square foot to be $2.68 and the average entrance fee on a per square foot basis to be $3.96. So again, if you see kind of what our current product is, it's actually a little bit less for the East residents, even though some of the monthly fees are a little bit higher and some of the entrance fees are a little bit higher. Really what drove us to go towards these particular square footages in these units was the extreme demand that we have for the bigger units within our current mix, and also a lot of the focus groups that we were having with depositors. People were coming from houses that were, 2,500 to 4,500 square foot houses, and they didn't want to downgrade to some of the smaller units that we had. So that, along with some of the focus groups, drove kind of how we got to the sizes of our independent living units in the new building. Again, just kind of going back the opposite way, if we present value those prices down to where we're sitting at right now, we'd be at an average of $252 and $279 for the entrance fee. Kind of comparing there, you can see it's still quite a bit less on a per square foot basis than our current product.
So Justin, this page is showing if you price those the East residents out today, this is what it would look like, right?
Correct. Yep. So this is again the East resident prices as of 2019, 10/1/2019. But these will not be the prices. We've quoted everything out, and all the while have been forthcoming as to what are you going to pay when we actually finish this building. Okay. So sometimes people look at the monthly fee, and say that's quite a bit of a monthly fee. A lot of times what I've heard is people are saying, well, I only pay a mortgage of this amount. Why is this fee so much higher than what I'm paying for on a mortgage? So we try to kind of look at what's all included in that monthly fee. And there's significant amounts that, like I said, we bundle into the fee. So if you look at your standard mortgage, really that's kind of this top line item, your room and board. Some people maybe escrow their insurance and whatnot, but the room and board is really your mortgage. We also have access to all the common spaces and amenities. There's going to be a wellness center, a pool. Even within our current product, there's access to a dining space, a Blue Mountain Market, a chapel, and whatnot, and a lot of other features. It includes housekeeping twice per month, maintenance of the apartment, essentially all your utilities besides TV and phone at this point. Scheduled transportation. Obviously, that's a little bit changed since we wrote this particular presentation given the COVID, but we hopefully anticipate that coming back, and transportation out to various places such as grocery shopping and whatnot will be coming back. We have a wellness nurse on site, so access to the wellness nurse, pastoral care. We have 24-hour security, outdoor parking. Our current contract and the contract that we're anticipating for the East residents does include 30 days of nursing care within our skilled nursing facility. taking our current rates, that's a little bit short of an $11,000 savings. So if a resident does need to go directly to the skilled nursing, you would have up to 30 days to stay in the skilled nursing after your Medicare benefit, assuming you have Medicare, and we cover that room and board cost within that. That you still have to meet the requirements of being in skilled nursing. We can't, it's not just that you stay there and you have 33 days so you can use them all. There'd still be requirements there, but there is that benefit for you. And then priority access to other areas of the continuum. Actually, I looked at the census this morning, and we're 100% occupied and committed in both our memory care and our assisted living with wait lists. Anybody who's a member of our campus or resident on our campus would have priority access to one of the other areas of the continuum if, say it was, one unit open, there was you and one individual from the community, the priority would go to our residents. So kind of, taking a look at it a little bit different way, we tried to put a little bit of a demonstration of what are all the things that kind of go away from what you pay in the community now. So kind of taking this list, property taxes. It's not unusual to see, in the $6,000 range, $6,000 to $7,000 property taxes. Utilities, I said, are all included. 380. I know, some of the times with what my kids are doing and leaving lights on, it's a little bit more than that. All your house maintenance, if you ever have an issue with your air conditioner, you don't have to call an outside company. We take care of all that. Snow removal, again, security, and a variety of other things listed here. So, you see when you kind of take the average price of some of these and what they add up to, and it's all included, versus what you really need to get and what you're really going to pay for still once you're a resident of our community, it can be quite a bit of savings. $1,500 to $2,000 in savings per month on what you're paying here. So you really, when you're looking at apples to apples with your mortgage, you have to kind of consider those other savings that you're having and really take, roughly $1,900 off the monthly fee to compare to what you're paying now. Some of the entrance fees. So currently what we have in our independent living, and then also what one of the options is for the East residents, is a 90% refundable entrance fee. So just using, simple math, if you pay us $100,000 of entrance fee, when you move out of the facility, you would get $90,000 back. I think what's really important to point out here is that, with all the market fluctuations we've had in the last 3 months, a lot of people have maybe lost money on their investments. Now it's started to rebound a little bit. If you go back to 2008, home prices around the area, some of them dropped 40% in what people could sell their houses for. With the entrance fee that you pay us, you're guaranteed to get 90% of that entrance fee back, regardless of what's happening in the world or in the market. So that's kind of a nice feature that you have here versus when you look at your home price and selling that. Again, and then the 90%, the 10% non-refundable, we typically take that and it goes towards refurbing the unit, maybe painting, bringing the, cabinets up to shape, kind of getting it in a position that would be a suitable unit for any resident coming in. But another thing that you really have to look at when you're saying, well, 10% can be a lot, and it can be, but when you're selling your home, your condo, you got to think about it this way. You're going to be losing 6% because you're going to be paying the realtor 6%. My controller actually just sold her house last weekend, and when you go through that, and then when I was selling my house a few years ago, you're going to get a home inspection. If it's a little bit older house, you're going to be asked to probably fix some things. She had to fix, I think, her roof and had to do something with the fireplace. I remember when I was selling, I had to redo my fireplace, which was like another $4,000 off. So those things start adding up. And very quickly, you're going to be right at that 10% of sale price when you consider 6% right off the bat. So there are other communities, particularly on the East and West Coast, that have a higher, lower refundability, meaning a lot of them are 85 to 80%. We feel 90% is the right place for us to be. But as I'll kind of point out in the next slide, there are some other options that we can talk about to work with each individual to try to get them where they want to be.
Justin, I have a question that came in about the entrance fees before you
Okay.
move on.
Sure.
Do the entrance fees collect interest, and is there any tax advantage to having an entrance fee?
Yeah, good question. So within our current depository agreement, we did put an interest rate in there so that you will gain an interest credit on your, I guess, final payment of your entrance fee only on the deposit portion. So let's just, again, let's use an example here. So let's say you put a deposit of $20,000 down. That $20,000 will gain interest at, I can't remember exactly what it says. You know, it was similar to like savings rates at the time. So, you know, 1 to 1.5%. Don't quote me on that exact amount, but you'll gain 1.5% on that interest until we finish the building and you pay the remaining of your entrance fee. That interest credit will come off the amount that you owe at the closing. So let's just say you gain $2,000 in interest over that period. You would pay $2,000 less on your final payment in versus us paying you like cash or something like that. So it's a credit, interest credit. And I think the second question was on the taxes. Within our product, you're not buying or owning any part of this. It's still a rental agreement. And to my knowledge, there's no tax benefit of you paying the entrance fee. What I can say is I know we send out a letter each year, and there is the ability to write off the healthcare portion of your fee. There's an IRS standard that tells us how we calculate the particular amount of your monthly fee that is attributable to healthcare costs. And that's again for like the wellness nurse, for the San Camillo days, as we call them, or the days within skilled nursing. So that portion of your monthly fee is able to be deducted potentially. But to my knowledge, there's no deductibility or tax benefits from the actual paying of the entrance fee.
Justin, to clarify, the interest credit only applies to the East residents and not San Camillo, correct?
Correct. That is only within the depository agreement for our East residents at this time. Okay. And then one of the other questions that was submitted, can we use the entrance fee to pay for our care? Yes and no. It can't be used like immediately to pay for the care or the monthly fees. It's kind of kept as that nest egg for potential future or for refund. But in the event that you do outlive your assets within independent living or within another area of the community, that is the point where we start having an agreement with you where you can draw down on your entrance fee. You know, as Kevin mentioned, I think one of the big benefits of St. Camillus is that we have that foundation, and we stated in our agreements that you will not be discharged due to inability to pay. We do a financial screening up front, checking financial records, because it's within our best interest and the interest of all of our residents that we make sure we're not allowing somebody to come in that maybe it doesn't make financial sense for them to be here and they run out of funds within a couple months and then start drawing down on the assets from our foundation that are really meant to be benefits of all of the residents. And then within the assisted living and memory care, if you move to one of those other areas of the continuum and your apartment for some reason or another has not sold after 6 months, then you have the ability to draw down your entire fee from the entrance fee. So those are really the two cases where you can use those. Real quick, so I talked about, and I think there was a question on, the refundability and why are maybe some of the other places that maybe you have looked at have non-refundable options, maybe lower refundability. Within our East Residence program, we're looking at, obviously we're gonna have the 90% refundable, but there has been some interest expressed for either, less refundability in exchange for lower monthly fees. I had one individual who wanted to make sure that the monthly fee was lower than his or her pension and Social Security. So this individual was very interested in going to a 75% refundable for a little bit lower fee. So you can see that the monthly fee goes down by roughly $500 a month, but at the end we retain 25%, so you get a little bit back. People can kind of play with that refundability maybe you have no estate, you have no heirs to leave that to, and you'd rather pay a lower monthly fee in exchange for that. So we've kind of put a pricing together for both a 75% refundable and a 50% refundable. As you can see, really what that affects is the amount that you'd be paying per month, and then the amount that you or your estate would get back upon moving out. Okay, and then we did explore another option. We haven't had a significant amount of interest in this, but certainly willing to talk to anybody about it, where the refundability kind of is a variable amount. So after year 1, it's 90%. Maybe at year 2, it would drop down to 85%. So we'd have to look at that and look at some actuarial tables for specific cases of that. But again, I think the point of this is that we're willing to work with you and kind of set up something that works both for you and your situation. Somebody had submitted a question. So what do we do with the monthly entrance or the entrance fees once we get them? The terms of our financing, we did a public financing, so investors bought into the bonds that we sold. That kind of establishes what a portion of these entrance fees are, how they're handled. So a certain percentage of the entrance fee pool, so the people that buy the first 168 units, a certain percentage of that goes to pay down some of the temporary debt they call that, so the debt over the first couple of years. So we take a portion of that, pays off that debt. It also establishes what they call a debt service reserve fund. And I think this is something that's nice for both investors and residents. It kind of creates a safeguard for both parties, that it creates kind of an untouchable pool of funds that if for some reason the economy tanks, or St. Camillo started doing operations didn't go as well, we would still have this extra fund available to make sure that we're paying our debt, and we wouldn't get the campus taken by the investors or anything like that. Fortunately, we're in a very good position. We have, as Kevin mentioned, a very strong financial history, and would hopefully never have to use that. And then also we can retain a portion of that as just cash, which helps us meet some of the other covenants of days cash on hand and whatnot. The last thing before I think Kevin closes, and then maybe questions, life plan versus a life care community. So as Kevin mentioned, we're a life plan community, so we're on the left side here. And that's kind of that full continuum of care that Kevin mentioned, where you'd have a certain monthly fee in independent living. You'd have a substantially higher fee when you would need to go to assisted living and so forth into skilled nursing. A life care community is more like an insurance-based product. So they use a lot of actuarial tables, look at your age, your health, and a lot of different factors to kind of determine what your fee is going to be throughout your entire stay here, no matter where you're at. So your monthly fees are fixed, only subject to annual increases for all residents, and typically, you have to kind of bank on what your fee is going to be. So let's just say our independent living fee here would be $2,000. Typically in a life care community, your fee for independent living is going to be significantly higher, maybe $3,000, $4,000. It could be double. So you're going to be paying more upfront and kind of banking upon the fact that if you do have to use services within the other area of the continuum, that's when you're going to be starting to pay less. So it could work for you. It could not work for you. That's not how we have that. We don't have any life care contracts on our campus at this point at all. Okay. And that is it for me. So Kevin, did you have another slide there then?
I do. You want to stop sharing your screen and I'll flip over?
Yeah.
As Justin alluded to, and I mentioned earlier in my part of the presentation, was about our security and our financial security at St. Camillus. And I just want to reiterate, we've been in this business since the 1930s, so we're not a new community by any stretch of the imagination. We've had a foothold in Wauwatosa in this very same site since 1932, to be precise. We're supported and sponsored, as I mentioned, by the Order of St. Camillus, which is a worldwide Roman Catholic order, and it's based in over 60 countries throughout the world, headquartered in Rome. And we measure and benchmark ourselves financially versus other national and local life plan communities and score on many of the metrics that are financial based in the top 25% of similar communities. And those are national numbers too. So versus communities that might be in the East or West Coast that actually will charge much more money, both on entrance fees and monthly service fees, just because the economy is much different and the costs are much different out there. And then when we financed the project back in October, November of this past year, we financed it with historically low fixed interest rates. So we have no future variability of our debt. We were very pleased with the interest rates we were able to secure, and that should give us a very strong foothold into the future. Justin, you remember, I don't want to misquote the exact number, but do you know the quote on what the interest rate was? 4 points.
Yeah, when you consider all in, we financed, both our short and long-term debt at kind of an average around 4.6%.
Yes. And just to put that in perspective, that's fixed for 35 years. And put that in perspective, when San Camillo was built, well before my time in the late 80s, early 90s, that was financed at over 10% interest. So just to put a little in perspective. And then we are audited each year. It's a requirement for both our financings as well as, it's been our policies to be audited regardless if someone told us to, and by certified public accountants, and are routinely, when I say routinely, we mean monthly, monitored by outside agencies such as the investors Justin spoke about in banks. So they keep a close eye on us as well as, we try and be as financially prudent as possible. And my screen isn't changing anymore. Okay, and finally, sorry, it was stuck. Why is now the best time for the East residents and choose a life plan community? Well, you can pick the unit that is available to you rather than waiting for a unit to become available, such as in San Camillo. So you will have a full choice. You're able to still make modifications to the unit while there's still time, because once we get to a certain point in construction, those modifications could become more costly, just because there's going to be standard items bought, and to change those out will be much, much more costly to do so. You can lock in on those posted introductory monthly service fees that Justin shared with us earlier and that are posted on our website, as well as the marketing materials you received for both the monthly service fees and entrance fees. Now, before they go up, and there's possibilities that they will go up shortly because of where things might be moving. And home prices right now are historically high, and rates of on mortgages are historically low, so causing a great time to potentially put your house up for sale and so forth in that way. In our practices, in our transparency during this pandemic, has demonstrated our values and how we operate moving forward, and how we always have operated. And if you talk to people here at San Camillo that Julie didn't mention, or at the rest of the care areas of our campus, we're very forthcoming of what's taking place on our campus by sharing in our emails and just newsletters and everything else. So I've been very transparent through this process. And you and your family will have the security that you are choosing a great place with everything you will ever need, and that you have a plan. As we mentioned before, that's the benefit of the life plan community. And it's just an exciting time to see your future home being built as well. As Julie mentioned, it's coming out of the ground. The first 2 stories that are actually underground are just about finishing up, so you'll see the buildings start coming up, and you'll be actually the first owner in your future home, rather than coming into the East residence after someone already was in it. So that's an exciting time as well. And now I think we can open up for questions.
Shirley, I see you raised your hand. If you wouldn't mind putting your comment, your question in the chat bubble, then we'll be sure to get that. There was one question as Justin was talking. It seems expensive. How do I know that I can afford it? Do we have any specific guidelines?
Yeah, I mean, I think, Julie has and her team kind of uses a kind of a calculation guideline. I don't know if you have more of a, an exact general one, but, we do have that. We also have, I think what's important when we looked at going through the financing, we had that exact same question, and we have several depositors who I met with myself that said that exact same question. I was only so and so. I can't afford this, And I looked at their assets and I said, I think it makes sense. We did some calculations. We also had an outside independent firm do a feasibility study, which was required by the investors. Not a single one of the people that were depositors or who thought that they were very close to that edge or couldn't afford it came up as a red flag for the public accounting firm that did that. So I don't think it's uncommon that people don't think that maybe I can't afford that. I think what you really have to remember is, sometimes people say, well, I'm giving up so much of that money, so much of that entrance fee, but that really is still your money here. That 90% of that nest egg is your fees there, and that's going to still be there for you to pay for future services within assisted living, memory care, skilled nursing, if you so need so. Maybe it's home care. You still have that money available to do that.
And it's money that goes back to the beneficiaries too, right? If you don't use it, that's also available for that down the line as well.
And I would just add that between San Camillo, our current independent living, and the East resident, there's a wide range of entrance fees. Typically, if you're a homeowner, you will qualify for some style of an apartment in one of our independent living residents. And oftentimes people don't realize what assets they have until they actually write them down in a financial application. So I would not be discouraged by any of the entrance fees you've seen today. Once you get used to the idea of an entrance fee, start doing research, and come to understand the benefits of it, it's less intimidating. So, don't disqualify yourself without talking to one of our senior living specialists.
Yeah. And it's important. I think Justin talked about a little bit and into great detail about that 90% refundable versus and what that 10% is for. I think Justin spoke about that very clearly, that if it was in your house, if you had a house, you're spending oftentimes more than the 10% of that value that you're getting out. With repairs, projected repairs, as well as the real estate agent fee on that. So that's what I would equate those two numbers very similarly. So.
I'm not seeing any other questions. I would encourage you to check out our website. It is a wealth of information. You can type in St. Camillus Life Plan Community in your browser, or it's www.stcam.com. Call us. There's a senior living specialist here 6 days a week, and we will do Sunday appointments as well. It's no pressure, but it's a lot and it's a big decision. So we encourage people to look earlier. It's best to be the planner and not reacting to a crisis. And the East residence is really something special. If people wait, then we have some wait and seers. I want to be here, but I'm going to wait until it's up and being built. Well, that might be a problem for you because there are times when our large units in San Camillo have a 5 to 7 year wait. So people moving into the East residence, they're trending younger, significantly younger, and they will stay in their apartments longer. So if you wait until it's up, you might experience a long wait list, and you certainly won't have a choice of apartment styles.
Yeah, or amenities and standards and all that stuff that's in the unit, right, Julie?
So be a planner, reach out to us. We have packets of information that can be mailed. The website it's a brand new website, and we're really proud of all the information we're giving out on the website. If you're comfortable coming in and touring, we have many precautions in place. We'd love to have you visit. probably most of the people, this is hard, my first Zoom, I can't have people raise their hands, but if I could see you all, I would say how many of you have been to San Camillo or have friends at San Camillo? And probably most of you have either been here or have friends. So, now is the time. It's an uncertain time, but it's really a certain time to make a decision to move into a life plan community in San Camillo. And I hope you can tune in on the August 6th, because we did have a gentleman who's actually moving into the East Resident. He's so excited, but after being quarantined, he's a social man, and he's like, can I move into San Camillo and wait for my apartment to be built? Can I watch it be built? Can I have an apartment and watch it? And that's what he's done. And he has said to everybody, no matter what restrictions we have, he smiles, so this was the best decision I ever made. So you'll get to hear his story next week.
Yeah, well, good. Thanks, Julie. And if you have any questions, sometimes it's hard to ask questions over the Zoom and so forth, and we understand that. If you have any questions, you can reach out to Julie or one of the senior living specialists, and if you want to talk to Justin or myself further, we'll be happy to answer your question via phone call, where it's a little bit easier to answer your question. It might be personal, and so we can definitely be there for that as well.
Also, I will add, if you have adult children who have opinions, and many, many of them do, we are always happy to do conference calls, because if you're trying to explain this to your son, who maybe is a banker and attorney, he might say, I need some more information. And all three of us are willing to sit down with your family members.
And we've done that many a time already. So,
yeah.
And Julie said the website, the website is pretty exciting. You can see actually the day-to-day activity live on the website of what's taking place with the building. So it is pretty cool to see that and watch that and see the transformation right before your eyes too. We just did a time lapse the other day by the construction company. It's amazing how that all goes so quick. So.
And just in closing, one of the senior living specialists, we do have your email addresses. We'll reach out so you have a connection here on campus if you have any questions. And when we do new resident lunches, the question I ask them is, what is your number one surprise when you moved into San Camillo or independent living? It's, I wish I would have moved in sooner. I didn't think it would be like this. I wish I would have moved in 5 years ago. So be a planner and come visit us.
Julie, real quick. I had it up by chance, so let's just look here quick. So I hope you can see it. So you can go on there and see the live camera even of what's being built there. So a lot of progress.
Yeah. Thanks, Justin.
Wow. Oh, you can even see the workers walking.
Yes. Keep an eye on them, make sure they're working.
Well,
right,
great. Thank you, everyone.
It was nice to meet everyone.
Julie, there's in the chat, I think I saw it pop up. Is it going to be available for download, the presentation?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. No, I didn't see that.
Thank you.
Great. Thank you, everyone.
Have a good day.
Bye.
How do I do this now? In meeting for all? Yes. They were nice.